How to never be the nice guy and how to finally be the man that women want. This video is going to be 100% raw and authentic, and I'm going to tell you my story from nice guy to man that has absolute abundance with dating. I have landed my dream girl. I've coached thousands of men on this, and I'm confident I can help you with this problem. First step is to understand what is a nice guy. When a girl calls you a nice guy, or when she says you're too friendly, or when she doesn't feel a spark or a connection with you after the date, what is that? Let's talk about that. So really, what a nice guy is someone who isn't true to themselves. You're not really being yourself. You are supplicating yourself for the woman, or for the person, or for the other thing, the subject at hand. Essentially, you go on a date with a woman, and let's say because you don't want to be a creep or you don't want to come off too pushy, you just sit next to her and you never make a move, you never flirt with her, and you're just having regular conversation, and then the day after she texts you saying she doesn't want to see you. That is a nice guy, because you're not being true to what you feel, what you desire, who you really are. If you're hanging out with a woman and you want to kiss her, if you want to flirt with her, if you want her in your life in that way, you're not going for it. You're not going towards that direction at all. Like, not making some kind of initiative, not making a move. That makes you come off insecure. It makes you come off shy. It makes you come off not sure of yourself. And essentially, this is what a woman means by, or this is what people mean by a nice guy. Another example of a nice guy, and this, you might relate to this one, which is just overall hanging out with a woman, and even though you are making a move, what happens is she doesn't feel very attracted to you for whatever reason. She doesn't feel some connection with you. And sometimes it might be the case because your conversation and your way of being, it lacks polarity. Essentially, by polarity, what I mean by this is, like, imagine you met someone and all they do is say yes to everything you say. When you tell them something, they congratulate you. When you tell them a story, they think it's amazing. When you ask them about their life, they just word their life in a way to please you. They're just an absolute people pleaser. This is someone with no polarity. This is someone with no like up or down with them. This is very boring. Imagine you watched a movie and the movie has no sad moment, no bad moment, no moment of tension. In fact, that's a great word, tension. Tension cannot be built when all you do is compliment the girl, when all you do is agree with the girl, when all you do is just, like I said, you have no polarity, you have no push against her. That's what can't be built. Tension can't be built. And understand, tension is what creates the attraction. It's what creates, to be more specific, is what creates a sexual vibe between you and the girl. This is what's important. So those are essentially the things. That's what a nice guy is. It's someone who either doesn't have polarity when he's interacting with women, or someone who just overall doesn't make a move, like he doesn't go forward with the woman. He's not honest to himself. And I guess there's another option. There's actually, there's one more here. There's a lot of examples, but one more here is someone who, when a woman does something to them, like test them, they break, right? This is another example. So let's say a woman says let's say you're dating a woman, right? This isn't even a pickup situation. Let's just say you're dating a woman and she starts to pull away from you. She starts to not text you as much. She starts to not talk to you as much. In those moments, if you were to just text this girl all needy and desperate and be like, hey, why aren't you texting me? Like, I thought you liked me. What happened? Are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. If you start to get insecure like this, you are pushing her away further because you're being very soft. You don't seem to be a man who has character and strength and security within himself, which is what the woman is attracted to. Understand, women are attracted to secure men who know what they want and they're not afraid to express what they want. And that's why being a nice guy is repulsive. So now that you know that's what the nice guys are, those are examples of a nice guy. Let's talk about what happened to me. Let me just tell you a story. And it's just gonna be very raw, and I'm gonna tell you guys how this taught me a lot. This one really, really big story. One time I met this girl. She was Brazilian. She was very attractive. I'm not gonna say her name, but she was Brazilian. I met her in East Coast. And I remember this was back when I started pickup, when I started going out to bars and clubs and talking to women, and it became like my hobby at some point. And I remember like when I met this girl, we had a good interaction. It wasn't amazing, but she was very attractive. And I remember like when I was texting her after, it took us like months, but we finally set up a date one day. Just finally it happened. And I was very excited because up until that moment, she was one of the more attractive and just overall more interesting women that I was gonna go on a date with. And I was excited. I was very excited. But at the same time, I was slightly scared. Genuinely, I was slightly scared. Reason being is she was very attractive and I didn't wanna fuck it up. I know you listening, if you've ever been a nice guy or if you've ever fucked it up with a woman, I know you know what I mean by this feeling of being afraid to fail, being afraid to fuck things up, being afraid to make things awkward, right? Being afraid to come off like a creep. All these words that men use. So I had some fear. I remember I was like scared, but I was faithful and I was like, whatever, we're gonna do what we can. And I go on the date, and I remember she shows up and she's very attractive. She looks great. She's dressed very well. And I say hi to her. I actually did have the courage to call her attractive when I met her. I was like, hey, you look cute today, blah, blah, blah. Good to see you. She was like, hi, good to see you too. And I was like, yeah, we're about to go to this taco place. It's like 3 blocks that way. Grab my arm. And then she grabs my arm and we start walking to the place. And I remember being like, okay, cool, good start. I showed some intent by calling her cute. I got some physicality going. She's grabbing my arm. I'm leading her to the date spot. And yeah, overall, I was just kind of like, okay, things are cool. But what ended up happening is we got into a good conversation. Cannot recall what it was about, but it was a good conversation. And essentially, it stayed there. We just had a good conversation. It was just fun conversation. It was fun. It was cool. But it never got man to woman. Never got man to woman. I never made a move. I never said something that was like sexual. I never brought that vibe back up. I did call her cute at the beginning, but I never brought it back up. We just had a good conversation. And it was as if every 30 minutes that would go by, I just felt like the frame was becoming more and more friendly, less and less man to woman. And the more and more friendly the frame gets, and this is what you need to learn, is that the more and more it gets friendly, the more and more difficult it becomes to do something out of this frame. It becomes very difficult to make a move on her now because you just made it friendly. Now, in actuality, what you will do in these moments, if it ever does get too friendly, is you want to simply act out of character and just start moving towards back to the man to woman frame. Okay? So if you're ever on a date with a girl, it's going too friendly, and you're telling yourself like, oh my God, it feels too friendly. It's weird if I flirt. It's weird if I grab her arm. It's weird if I try to kiss her. It's weird if I try to take her back home. No, it's not weird. Just be okay with failure. Be okay with going for it. It's the least you can do. Ideally, you keep up the frame that it's man to woman throughout the whole way. But if it ever falls out of that, by all means, bring it back. By all means. Anyways, we had a date that stayed friendly. I never made a move. I never made it too sexual. And then I remember she left. I gave her a hug. There was that awkward moment where like we think we could potentially kiss. All right, have a good day. I enjoyed seeing you. Hug. Nothing. She left. And never saw her again. And I remember going home, being frustrated instantly because I just did the thing I was afraid of doing, which is I didn't go for it. I never made my intentions clear. I never showed up on that date. The thought that would come to my mind in these moments were, wow, I had a beautiful woman ready to see me, excited to see me, open to explore what could happen on this date. And then I just never went for it. I never went for it. It was like there, I just never went for it. And guys, when you reject yourself, that will always be more painful than when you get rejected. So understand, when you're avoiding these difficult things, these potential failures, when you're avoiding them, understand that rejection of yourself is way worse. That pain is way worse than what a girl could do to you. This is very important. And this isn't just women, but this isn't just life in general. What the world can do to you by rejecting you or by you failing will never be as bad as the feeling it feels to reject yourself, to not believe in yourself. This is extremely important. And the reason it really stung me was that this was a common pattern I was getting into. I was going on a date with an attractive girl, and then she was so attractive that we just stayed in regular conversation. I didn't have the entitlement. I didn't have the balls to just go for it. I didn't have the balls to push towards something more than a friendly interaction. This would happen again and again and again. In fact, it was kind of like it would happen with a certain caliber of woman, maybe once or twice, and then I got fed up, and then I just started to go for it with that caliber. And then next thing you know, I had a date with a higher caliber woman, like the one I just described, and then same problem, right? And it was kind of like this building up of confidence I had to build. I can confidently say I'm so past that. And I've helped so many men with this exact problem. And the point of this video is to finally, after telling you what a nice guy is, after giving you a story that maybe you can relate to, give you the solution. So this is what happened. After that date, I remember I went home, I sat down and I was like, yeah, this hurts so much. I'm never doing that again. I'm never, ever going on a date and not going for it ever again. Let the girl reject me. Let the world reject me. But I'm not going to do that to myself no more, because there's just nothing that kills your confidence more than that. There's nothing. So I made that promise to myself. And now we're getting into the solution of what you need to do to not be a nice guy, which is the idea that you simply have to go for it. Whatever it is. Whether it is you're at the bar and you want to invite her home, but you're afraid to not be polite, or it might scare her away. Just go for it. Just go for it. Hey, do you like wine? Yeah. Oh, I got wine back in my spot. You should come through later. Just go for it. It's not gonna be a big deal. Or if you want to ask the girl on a date, but she's at the gym and you've been told, oh, at the gym you don't want to shit where you eat, you don't want to do this, but you guys have a good vibe and you just really want to go for it. Go for it. Just ask her out. Hey, I was gonna go to this thing. You should come with me. Like, we should go. Guys, going for it will not do anything other than bring you success or bring you lessons. But if you don't go for it, you won't get success and you won't get lessons. And all you're gonna be left with is feelings of regret. So that's a really big solution here. Now, in terms of the other problems, which one problem was just overall the idea of being nice in your conversation, just being agreeable, not having any sort of polarity. That one's pretty simple, and you want to just start teasing. You want to just start giving negative spikes in your interactions. It could be as simple as disagreeing with her. So she says something and you disagree with it. Not from an asshole place, but more from a playful kind of place. Maybe she likes a sports team and you don't like the sports team, and you're just like, oh my God, you like that sports team? Like, nah, we can't get along. I like this sports team. This kind of playful dynamic is amazing, because to get back to what I said at the beginning of this video, that's what creates tension. It's like this tension. It's almost like two dogs fighting. There's like tension. That's what teasing will create. This is amazing. I have more videos on this as well. So once you can do teasing, once you go for it, and then the final part is when a woman tests you, what do? You hold your frame. Whatever it is you have beliefs in, whatever it is you value in your life, You don't let a woman or just anybody, you don't let anybody, it doesn't matter woman, male, person, group, whatever, family, you don't let anybody stray you away from what you're destined to become. That's what being a man is you have this path, you have this destination, and you're going there no matter what. If you can do that, if you can make sure you tease, and if you can make sure that you just go for it, then you won't be a nice guy ever again. And it is a process, and it might be very difficult. So if you feel like you need more help, guys, I can work with you one-on-one. I am a coach that helps men with dating, self-development, and I can help you with all these areas, and I will work with you one-on-one. It's not, you don't work with someone else and then you talk to me every so often. No, you work with me, okay? And trust me, I can help you. I've helped thousands of men. If you want to get in my program, a one-on-one program, link in my description to work with me personally. And guys, that's all that I wanted to say. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. Peace.